Hans Steininger, the 16th-century mayor of Braunau in Austria, is remembered not only for his political skills but also for a death so bizarre that it has cemented his place in history. His extraordinarily long beard, measuring over 1.4 meters, around 4.5 feet, was both a symbol of pride and a unique feature of his appearance. But what was once an impressive hallmark of his life would tragically lead to his untimely demise. In a fateful accident in 1567, Steininger died in a way that shocked his entire community, tripping over his own beard. Hans Steininger was the mayor of Braunau a small Austrian town on the border with Germany, known today for its rich medieval history. Respected by his community for his effective leadership and responsibility toward the town's citizens, Steininger's fame, however, wasn't purely based on his political achievements. It was his strikingly long beard that became his most recognizable feature. In a time when long beards were often seen as a sign of wisdom and social standing, Steininger fully embraced his unique physical trait. His beard, which exceeded 1.4 meters, was a source of admiration and attention. Most days, he kept it rolled up and tucked in a cloth to avoid interference with his daily tasks. But on one unfortunate day, the beard got loose, and the consequences were fatal. In 1567, a devastating fire broke out in Braunau throwing the town into chaos and panic. As mayor, Steininger immediately took charge, helping to organize the evacuation and directing rescue efforts. In the rush of the emergency, however, he neglected one crucial detail: securing his beard. As he hurried through the flames, he stepped on the long strands of his own beard, causing him to trip and fall. The impact was so severe that Steininger broke his neck, dying instantly from the tragic accident. Hans Steininger's bizarre death quickly became the stuff of legend. His demise was not just a local tragedy but soon spread across Europe, with his story being recounted for its sheer strangeness. The very beard that had served as a symbol of status and wisdom had become the cause of his ironic end. Over the centuries, his death has been used as an example of how the things we take pride in can sometimes turn against us in unexpected ways. Today, Hans Steininger remains a prominent figure in the history of Braunau. In fact, his famed beard has been preserved and displayed in the town's local museum, where visitors can witness the long strands that played such a pivotal role in his fate. His story often comes up in discussions of bizarre deaths or curious historical events, serving as both a cautionary tale and a source of historical fascination. Braunau has gained some level of fame due to this unusual event, attracting tourists interested in learning more about the mayor with the fatal beard. Though Steininger's name is not as widely known as other historical figures, his legacy, particularly the story of his death, continues to captivate people worldwide. Over time, Hans Steininger's story has found its way into numerous books on history and popular culture, often included in collections of strange deaths and unusual events. In an era when beards were a mark of authority and intellect, Steininger's life and death became a lesson in how a symbol of pride can transform into a fatal burden. His death is often seen as a literary and cultural irony, where he was metaphorically betrayed by his defining physical characteristic, his beard. This irony has turned his story into a universal lesson about how the very things that define us can sometimes become our greatest enemies. In modern times, Hans Steininger's death remains a historical curiosity but also carries a lesson. While we may laugh at the absurdity of his demise, his story reminds us not to take ourselves too seriously and to be aware of how the simplest details in life can turn dangerous in unexpected situations. Additionally, Steininger's life serves as a reminder of the balance between external symbols and true actions. While his beard was an outward sign of his status, it was ultimately his tragic death that defined his story, rather than his accomplishments as mayor. His story, therefore, teaches us that real value isn't measured by outward appearances but by the impact one has on their community and the actions they take. The death of Hans Steininger is one of the strangest and most unusual in European history. This bizarre tale reminds us of life's unpredictability and how outward symbols can sometimes turn into dangerous traps. Despite his tragic end, Steininger remains an important figure in the history of Braunau am Inn, serving as a vivid example of how life can often be stranger than fiction. Whether we laugh or reflect on his death, Steininger's story teaches us that in the face of life's unpredictability, we are all vulnerable, no matter how great our accomplishments. Perhaps the true lesson of his life is to remember that small details, even something as simple as a long beard, can have a huge impact on our destiny.